It goes with Kermit as well. Kermit also had a ankle injury, had a lengthy discussion with Mamelodi Sundowns, both doctors. And we also had to see the MRI scan. And yeah, unfortunately, he couldn't make it. Now, we also had 2 new injuries from yesterday's match. Vincent Pule has an injury. However, we have said because of the limited time, we agreed with the Orlando Pirates medical team that they need to release him to the national team. After this press conference, I'm going to be doing an assessment on him and determining whether he's going to continue with us or not, because he also arrived this morning. The other injury is Thabiso Kutumela. Thabiso also had an injury when they were playing in Mpumalanga. I had a lengthy discussion again with the Maritzburg medical team, but we agreed again because of the limited time for them to send the player to us for us to make the final assessment and determine whether he can continue with the national team or not. I just want to also make it clear that when it comes to the window, the international window, the people who make the final decision in terms of a player not being able to come to national team or not is the medical team of national team. It's not the team. That is why we work very, very close with the team and with the clubs so that we honor that rule. Thank you very much. That's just about it in terms of my update. Thank you.
Good morning, gentlemen and a lady. Welcome to our first press conference after we reported for camp yesterday. I think Doc has laid the foundation in terms of our situation when it comes to the players that we selected. We had a Bafana Bafana workshop at the beginning of the year on the 23rd of January and the 24th of January. And in that workshop, we got medical recommendations to say we must bring in a bigger squad because of the importance of the 2 matches back-to-back, and secondly, the issue of COVID-19. So we have called up 30 players, and with the 30 players, we have a situation here of European teams refusing to release players. So because of that, we won't be replacing anybody until this matter has been finalized to say Bongani Zungu is not coming, Dean Furman is not coming, Serrero is not coming, and also Keegan is not coming. So we are still negotiating with the clubs to see if ever they can release those players. If they can't come to join us here in Johannesburg, in South Africa, and play against Ghana, they will be able to join us in Sudan. But that is something that we are negotiating with the clubs, so that if ever they do release the players, if the issue of COVID is South Africa, then we need to have those players in Sudan. If the issue of COVID is Africa, then we won't have those players coming for this camp. So that is the situation we are in now. There are 5 players that we also added to the team. That is Vincent Pule from Orlando Pirates. We also included Thabo Nodada from Pirates, Lebo Maboe from Sundowns, Mothobi Mvala from Sundowns, Thabo Nodada from Cape Town City, and Thabiso Kutumela from Maritzburg United. So these are the players that were called up after the challenges we were faced with when it comes to player release that are playing in Europe. So as of now, we have got 30 players that we have selected, but we are still negotiating for the other 4 players.
Good morning, gentlemen and the lady. We always know how important these 2 games are, especially playing at home, starting at home, playing against Ghana, whom we lost in the first round. And like I said, it's very important for us to get a result because we don't want to have the same situation as the last time we qualified for AFCON 2019, where we had to leave it to the end against the Libya team. For us is to make sure that we get a full result and go to Sudan knowing very well that we'll qualify.
We know what's at stake, and the beginning of this journey, the coach asked us what we want to achieve, and we said we want to be number one in the group, and that's the challenge we've put ourselves in front of ourselves, and so far so good. And another thing was we said that we want to win all our home games, and so far so good. We got 2 out of 2, and we want to keep that momentum going. So going into the Ghana game, we want to keep that record going.
Thank you, Kilasand. We are, like the coach has said, we are negotiating. For instance, I'll just make an example with Keegan Dolly. Keegan Dolly, the situation is the problem there in the country, because the country's regulation where he's playing is saying that when you have to go to Africa, coming back, because you're going to use public transport and you're going to be with other people, then therefore you need to quarantine for about 14 days when you come back. So that then makes it unfavorable for the team to release the player. So that's the kind of situation that we are faced with. Bongani's situation is higher up in terms of negotiations. We are still negotiating, even as of yesterday. His negotiation is quite advanced, to be honest, but we're just waiting for confirmation. There is high likelihood that we might have Bongani in Sudan, but there's no confirmation as yet. We are still negotiating, and hopefully by the end of business today, would know exactly who will be coming to join us in Sudan. But to be honest, they will not be coming to South Africa, those that haven't arrived. So the next negotiation now is for them to come and join us in Sudan. Thank you. Yes, because the last communique that we received from the team was on Friday. So the situation is this quarantine that we are trying to negotiate, because the team says that if we're going to release our player and then coming back to us, having to quarantine for so long, then we are missing out. And what if we want to use then the player, then we can't use the player. So the situation where the negotiation is now is between us and government. Of Keegan's club in France. So that's where, but we are very hopeful. We are hopeful, but there's nothing confirmed, like I said. So we'll know by end of business today where we are.
Yeah, thirdly, I think we should all agree that nobody from South Africa and nobody from Africa brought about COVID-19. And it is very unfair for us to be punished and to be saying we cannot release players to come to South Africa because South Africa is a hotspot. I think all over the world, everywhere it's a hotspot, because COVID-19 is all over the country, it's all over the world. So for them not to release our players, I think it's a very big disappointment from us, because even in South America, because they were also made aware that their players won't be released for the World Cup qualifier. They suspended the qualification. They suspended their games. But in Africa, we are told that with or without your overseas-based players, you have to continue to play the fixtures, because everything is so congested going forward. After the AFCON qualifiers now in June, July, we'll be going for the World Cup qualifier. In August, September, World Cup qualifier. In October, World Cup qualifier. And then the last group of 10 in November. So that is why they are saying they can't even consider to postpone the game. But we are left with no choice but having to play the qualifiers, and of which this is very important for us as a country. This is very important for us as coaches. This is important for us as SAFA, because our objective and our mandate is it's well known. We want to qualify and play in the AFCON. So with what we have, we believe that the guys will deliver. We believe that whoever is in the camp will deliver the mandate. Like what Ronza said, at the beginning of this campaign, we sat and discussed and looked into ourselves and say, as South Africans, what do we want and how are we going to achieve what we really want to achieve? And we said we'll play every game to win. We'll play every game to be champions of our quest. So the issue of players not coming and with COVID regulations, we said it's part of the situation we find ourselves in. We can't keep on complaining, but we need to bring whoever is in camp and deliver. I think the last question was on everything in my hands. Yeah, everything is in our hands. And I think this is part of the lowdown that I'm giving the House in terms of player availability and those that are in camp. We give confidence and belief to all of us who are in camp to deliver in the 2 matches.
Do you also look this as a challenge to African countries to have stronger leagues? Because I've been noticing now countries like Morocco, which don't usually call up from locally based players, but because they've got Raja, they've got Midat, they're calling players, and we are also not in a very great situation because our players are playing the capital club competitions as well. Is this a lesson for African countries to have stronger leagues and not be fully reliant on European-based players?
I think it's a two-way traffic in terms of us as a country exporting players overseas and having them playing in top leagues and competing against the best in the world. But at the same time, for local football, it's also important to give our local players an opportunity to express themselves and to give good quality football for the local league. So the positives will always be coming from both ways, because now we selected 17 of our local based players and we had 9 of overseas based players. And when we were confronted with a situation of not getting all the 9 players, at least we have got 17 that are played regularly in the country, and those who have been with Bafana Bafana even before. And most of them are currently playing in the Champions League. We saw Pirates playing against Jwaneng Galaxy. We saw Pirates playing against Enyimba. We saw Pirates going to play against a team from Algeria. We saw the same thing with Kaizer Chiefs and with Sundowns. Recently, Sundowns played against TP Mazembe, which was a very interesting game. And when you look at our local players that are representing some of our local teams, these are national team material players, and whenever they come to the national team, they will always add value. But at the same time, when you produce and export quality to play in Europe, they are also exposed to a higher level of football because they play against the best in the world. And playing against the best in the world, you get the best out of yourself, out of your game. So it is so sad because we were all looking forward to have our best players come in to represent our respective countries. But now that nobody seem to understand the importance of playing for the national team, especially coming from clubs and coming from Europe. That is the sad part of it. But for the likes of Morocco, the likes of Egypt, the likes of Senegal, the likes of Cameroon, and maybe West African countries, yes, it is also important to have a strong local league, because local league will also export good quality players. But the difference with us is that most of West African countries and North African countries, they leave for Europe at a very young age. So they end up playing in Europe very early, and that is why in most cases some of them are playing for top leagues in Europe. So the development of such players was done in Europe already. Thank you. It comes out to be very private. I will just make an example of Keegan Dolly. This situation is very difficult because you could see that he was in tears when I spoke to him on Wednesday. You could hear the tone of his voice and the concern coming from his side, what he really wanted to do for his country, what he really wanted to do for his club. But unfortunately, nobody seems to be helping him to come and represent his country. Everybody is leaving it out to the government to say the government will decide what should be happening. And I think it's very unfair for a player who wanted to come and represent his country, and then he has got no help coming from anybody from the club. And I think we had the same situation with Pesitao because I spoke to them before we announced the team, just to find out the situation that side and what is happening, why is he not playing, and what are the possibilities. And I think Pesitau also made it very clear that he will be coming. And with Pesitau, he had, I think, 3 meetings with the club until the club agreed to release him to come and join the national team. But we know that going back, he will have to quarantine. So that is the pain that Pesitau will have to live with, going back to England. But what will make him very happy, and what makes him very happy as of now, is that Pesitau has just landed to come and play for his country. Bongani Zungu, the same, because when I spoke to him, he was even saying, we are actually done with the league. We have just won the league, but there is a Scottish Cup and the Europa League. And they are saying, if ever I go and play for my country, when I come back, I'm going to lose 3 matches. And losing 3 matches, we all know the situation with Bongani Zungu. He always wanted to do the best for his country and doing the best for his club to get a permanent contract at Rangers. So that is why I'm saying some are very personal, because you can't just kick the walls and say, I want to go and play for my country, because when you come back, you'll be without a job. So that is why I'm saying it's very difficult and very personal. And when you go to Dean Fairman just moved to Khalil, and then the whole team was quarantined for 14 days, the whole team. And they are now having too many matches to play, because they will be playing even during this FIFA week. So it becomes difficult also for Dean Fairman to come and join the national team, and when he goes back, he has to be quarantined. So that is why I'm saying it's very difficult for them. The same thing with Serero. Serero was looking forward to come, because the last time he got injured on Saturday, yes, when we were to report for camp on Sunday against Sao Tome. And he was pleading with Doc to say, Doc, can I please come? I just want to be with the team, even though I'm injured. But now Serero, the team is leading the log, and the team is doing well. Serero is doing well. He has played all the matches, and then this thing of COVID and COVID restrictions doesn't allow him to come and play for his country. So it's very difficult. But at the same time, how difficult it is for me as the head coach of the team, I had to make them understand that the guys will do it for you guys. We will qualify, and then you will be made available for selection going into the World Cup qualifiers and ultimately the AFCON. Yes, it is difficult, but we have to man up in situations like this and help them out through the storm. Starting lineup with Bafana. Okay, no. Every player we select is in the starting lineup. It will only depend on the strategy on the day, after we have done assessment and analysis of our opponents, because they are selected based on that assessment, that analysis of the opponent, to say what quality are we bringing into Bafana and what formation are we going to deploy against Ghana, against Sudan. And these are the players that you need to bring into the team. And when I took over, I think we should always take from what Ronwen said about us when we took over. The approach was more of a buy-in. This is our country, this is our football, and this is our career. For Tyson to go back to AFCON and to do well in the AFCON, for Ronza to go back to AFCON and do well in the AFCON, at least they've tasted success, having played up to last 8. And we are all looking forward to better that position. And bettering that position, it means we have to qualify. We are not going to entertain bettering our last position if we don't qualify. And I think it will be a very disappointment from all of us if we don't achieve the qualification first, if we don't achieve doing well in the AFCON. So as a team, as individuals, we have a buy-in into what we want to do with Bafana Bafana, because opportunity to coach and opportunity to play for Bafana Bafana comes once in your lifetime. And I think Ronwen and Tyson and the rest of the guys, one day they want to sit back and tell their children that when I was with Bafana Bafana, this is what I achieved. because being in the Bafana Bafana, you are lucky if you can play for the team for 10 years. You are lucky if you can be a Bafana Bafana coach for more than 2 years. So every opportunity you have as a player and as a coach, you want to make use of it to the best of your ability. I think we should also be very, very careful when we want to compare Europe with Africa, because we see our players going more into Europe for obvious reasons. The remunerations are much better than what we have in Africa. And they have got more sponsors in terms of the financial stability of such leagues. South Africa is one of those lucky African countries where there is a professional league that looks well after the players with the sponsors and everything. That is why when I was answering the question of local versus overseas, I said initially when we announced the team, we had 17 of locally based players. And here we are today. We have the captain of the national team playing locally. We had Dean Fairman as a vice captain who was playing in South Africa. We have the captain of Super Sport and the vice captain of Bafana Bafana seated on my left playing in South Africa because the league looks well after our players. So if ever African countries can get more of such financial backup from sponsors, from corporate world, even from government, I think we'll be able to keep our best players in the country, in the continent. And keeping them in the continent, it means we'll always have players coming from South Africa going into Egypt, going into Ivory Coast, going into Tanzania, and vice versa. Players coming from any part of Africa coming into South Africa, and then we'll have a very strong continental football. But because of the finances, we see most of our best players going overseas. And now, overseas, they are just showing their strength when it comes to their finances, to say, no, we are more important than your national team. So you better stay with us because your national team is not as important as the club because you're the ones paying your salary. So that is how we get to the set side of football in Africa. But the coach from Morocco was also complaining to say we must take a stance in terms of us taking FIFA and UEFA head on of them not releasing players coming to play in Africa. But who are we? Because we are under SAFA, we are under CAF, we are under COSAFA. These are the bodies that has to take the matter up with FIFA so that Africa can also get the respect they deserve when it comes to national team call-ups.
Now Coach, let's come to the game. Obviously also, I've been looking at the reaction of the Ghanaian media that has been one of the hardest hit teams with this situation, even with the follow-up call-ups that they've had to make. But also they've had to change the squad of locally based players, but now they went for other players who were maybe been out of the national team for a very long time. Some I see it's been 2, 3, 4 years. And how does this affect your plans now in terms of your planning? Because I'm sure you would have done your analysis and all those things.
Yeah, I think national team it's a very difficult one because I was saying with the national team you don't have the advantage of having a pre-season where you work out your strategies, you work out your philosophy and everything. But with the national team you have got now 2 days to prepare to play against Ghana, and we have done a lot of work in analyzing Ghana, and this happens. So I would say Ghana for us they are more dangerous than they were when we were analyzing them and bringing in players for this game, because it becomes much easier for you when you know who to play against, when you analyze individual players and the team. then in this case you are more about the coach to say, in the past 2 matches, what was the approach? And hopefully it will be the same approach. But Ghana will be coming here a different team altogether. The first leg they played against Sudan in Cape Coast, they won. And then they changed the team going into Sudan and they lost. So they are a very difficult team, very dangerous team. Now that they have also even lost some of their best players. So whoever will be in that team will try to prove a point, will try to get a permanent position in the team. So we are more concerned about our team, our approach in terms of playing to get results. So the team that we have in camp, it is the team that will be preparing as a team in terms of our tactical approach going into this match, with due respect of Ghana as a football country, and with due respect of Sudan as a football country. But more is about us. It's about us mentally, tactically, because a belief we have in our team, in our individual players, it is a belief that will get us results.
A message to the fans, they demand a lot of South African football. They're so passionate about their football and they love their country. There are challenges which is beyond your control. What is your message to them as they will be railing behind the team? And can I please get the thoughts from the 2 players seated there? Some of your teammates won't be able to be here because of the COVID challenges. Have you spoken to them? How do you feel about this? And does it put extra pressure on you guys going to the match?
Yeah, I think let me start by saying one of my predecessors, Mkhulu Coach Shakes, used to say, as a coach in the national team, and you are to play any game, no game is a friendly, because you are representing the country, you are wearing the colors of your country. You are like a soldier who's going out there to defend his country. And in defending your country, you always try to give your best. You always think of the people left behind. So we are this group of soldiers going out to represent our country, and we really want to do well for our country. And we know our country has been there for us. We have got the best support. We remember when we came back from Ghana after losing 2-0 against Ghana, and on arrival at Orlando to play Sudan, we had a very good crowd that was very enthusiastic, that was very supportive, that really enjoyed the game, every minute of the game. So it shows when you come from a patriotic country like South Africa, a passionate football country like South Africa, that whenever you are to represent this country, you have to do well, because you're going to put a smile on a number of people. And if ever the team doesn't do well, you are more worried about the pain, the emotional pain those people are going through. So as a country, as Bafana Bafana, we are looking forward to do well for our country, so that we can always put a smile on our people. But as football supporters all over the world, they're only looking for best results. And in football, there are times where you play a very good game and you don't get results. There are times when you have not a very good day, but you get results. When I look over the weekend, the game between Pirates Chiefs, the game between Super Sport and who did you play? The game against the game I saw between Super Sport and Stellenbosch, and then the one of Pirates and the one of Sundowns yesterday. You can tell that the results at times they don't always favor the best team. When I spoke to Ronza yesterday when he came in, he said, I said, how did you play? And he said, no, we lost. Why? Because they played 1-1. But for him, he feels it's a game they should have won. That is why he said, no, we lost. So I think my brief message to all South Africans, including myself, is to support the team, to rally behind the team, and wish the team all the best of luck. And in football, results will always determine the future. So the future for us is to go to Cameroon and represent our country.
Yeah, obviously we're disappointed. We all started this journey together. Obviously we've lost some of our soldiers now, but the players coming in, they need to step up and fill in. It's not going to be easy, you know, because we have a short time between now and the match. But you know, the preparation started long ago. You know, the technical team was spot on this camp. You know, they sent us information way before, so we already know our game plan and what to do, and how Ghana and Sudan plays. You know, so it's just for us as the leaders, you know, to help the new guys coming in, let them be at ease, know the game plan, and follow it. On the end of the day, we know what we want to achieve as a team. It's not going to be easy, but it's a challenge that we're looking forward to. And like I said, you know, we want that perfect home record, and if we get that, then it means we 1 foot, you know, into the AFCON. So yeah, it's obviously disappointed that the guys are not here, but you know, we'll do it for them, and hopefully, you know, this COVID can go away, and you know, we can get together again as a team.
We are disappointed not to have the guys that we started with, because their names, some of them they've been long with the Bafana team, and they form part of the core of the team. But I think it's no one is guaranteed a place in the national team. It's our team, it's your team, and other players who are not here, be it injury or any other thing, it's an opportunity for others. So whoever is here, with the guidance of the other guys who've been in the national team regularly, to make sure that they settle as quick as possible, because we don't have time in the national team, and they're capable of doing the job because they've been chosen as one of the best players in the team that we have currently. And obviously playing against Ghana, it has also hit them also, with their best players not coming, just like our best players not joining the team. And for us is to focus on ourselves and make sure that we do well. We keep the record that we've been on, and it's important for us as a country to go back to the AFCON. And whoever we meet against Ghana, whether we know them or we don't know them or they're familiar, but it's to focus on us and make sure that we get the 3 points.